Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the webinar on Hong Kong Bim Adoption Survey 2020. My name is Locke, and it is such a pleasure to be your MC today. In 2020, the CIC conducted the second Bim Adoption Survey in Hong Kong to keep track of the Bim adoption situation in Hong Kong construction industry. This webinar will introduce the results of the survey, the transition needs to be taken, and the recommendations from our consultant to address the hurdles and challenges faced by different stakeholders to realize the benefits of BIM. Throughout this webinar, audience may feel free to fill out the polling questions and raise any question in the question tab. We will consolidate the question for the Q&A session. May I now invite Architect Ada Fong, the chairperson of the Committee on BIM, to come on stage to walk through the survey report with us. Thank you, Ada.
Thanks, Locke. Good afternoon, everyone. As a prelude of the adoption survey, I'll take this opportunity to refresh and reinforce the memory about CIC's journey in support of the BIM adoption and development in Hong Kong. First of all, take a look at where we are at the moment. Use of BIM in Hong Kong dates back to the early millennium, around 2003, when some private sector projects applied Virtual Design Construction, VDC, or later known as BIM, followed by some public sector clients such as Hong Kong Housing Authority in the first decade. These are the earlier pioneers. And then until 2012, CIC established a task force and started to take a key role to drive the use of BIM in Hong Kong. In BIM year 2014, CIC launched a year-round of promotion and educational activities and published a report named Roadmap for Strategic Implementation of BIM in the Hong Kong construction industry, which has laid down solid foundations as a blueprint for promotion and adoption of BIM in Hong Kong's industry thereafter. In 2014, BIM Bureau has also identified some 40 pilot projects for BIM adoption. In 2015, CIC published the first set of BIM standards for Hong Kong. And CIC's Committee on BIM was established in February 2017. All along, CIC has been carrying out a host of measures to expedite BIM adoption in Hong Kong's AECOO industry, meaning architecture, engineering, construction, owner, and operation. We have been implementing strategies for market transformation and promotion, developing BIM standards and training programs to build up capacity and capability in using BIM in Hong Kong. In 2018, we have reached an important milestone when government mandates the use of BIM for government-funded projects at $30 million or above. This has generated strong demand for BIM adoption in Hong Kong. In 2019, we named as CIC's BIM year with a year-round of activities such as launch of BIM certification and accreditation schemes, established CIC BIM Space, organized the first BIM competition, aiming to draw industry attention and encourage collaboration with industry on the wider adoption of BIM. We gained momentum, and in 2020, we continue to keep up our pace. We expanded our BIM certification and accreditation schemes to cover BIM coordinator, organized celebration of BIM achievements to recognize the excellence of the practitioners in Hong Kong. And CIC has been serving as a center of excellence for BIM in Hong Kong. For BIM, we mean application of BIM, digital construction, and its related technologies in the construction industry. And CIC serves as a BIM solution hub and provides support in 5 key areas. First, formulate strategies for market transformation, promotes the use and facilitate application of BIM and its related technologies in the adoption and promotion. Second, training. We build capacity by providing training in BIM knowledge, utilization in both BIM adoption and project management. Third is developing standards and guidelines. We develop BIM standards, specifications, and guidelines for use of BIM. The fourth, certification and accreditation. We provide BIM registration to ensure the standard and quality of BIM practitioners. The fifth is R&D and funding support. We identify research topics and BIM applications for meeting the criteria of the Construction Innovation and Technology Fund, as well as the CIC's Research Fund. To facilitate adoption of BIM and its related technologies in the industry, The CIC BIM space has been established at Megabox Kowloon Bay, serving as a one-stop shop for provision of all BIM-related services, including showcasing of BIM technologies, applications of collaboration with industry partners and stakeholders to promote the adoption of BIM via seminars and workshops, etc., and provision of a knowledge hub and advisory service. And we welcome companies to borrow the BIM space to organize BIM-related seminars and webinars and BIM lab for training. We also organize BIM talks since 2018 at the Hong Kong Academy for Performing Arts. We invited various BIM experts from different backgrounds to share their successful implementation of BIM in real life and on a wider range of topics to accelerate BIM adoption. We also have different themes such as research, safety, and business transformation. Due to the outbreak of COVID-19 last year, we have changed our BIM talks into webinars in the year 2020. In the coming BIM talks, we will invite the project winners of the celebration of BIM achievements to share with us. We started organizing the BIM webinar on various BIM topics since last year and received very good feedback in the industry. So here's the coming schedule of webinars that we're going to organize in the coming months. In March, we have a detailed introduction of the results of BIM Adoption Survey 2020 and later Solution Day on FUSA. In April and May, we'll have a series of webinars as shown in this slide. And for more information, please visit our BIM portal to get the latest updates and also register for the upcoming webinars. I believe you all agree with me that BIM training is of topmost importance for healthy development of BIM and its adoption in Hong Kong. And the CIC has full commitments to build BIM capacity and durability for our industry. Over the years, CIC has been offering various BIM training through the School of Professional Development in Construction, SPDC, under the Hong Kong Institute of Construction, HKIC. These courses cover the basic modeling courses to the advanced modeling courses, the accredited BIM manager course, and other BIM software training such as data management with Dynamo, 4D simulation using FUSA, etc. There are lots of new courses on BIM usage for frontline staff and management staff. And for the details, please also visit the HKIC website or scan the QR code. In 2020, we have a golden harvest of new standards. We have published new additional updated BIM standards, including the first one is CIC BIM Standards General with Hong Kong local annex of ISO 9650, version 2, December 2020. This standard contains major enhancements to align with ISO 9650's information management principles, workflows, and requirements, also providing Hong Kong local annex of ISO 9650. Users will find this version 2 differs substantially when compared to the August 2019 publication. The 2019 version, namely CIC BIM Standards General, August 2019, will be kept for the existing users, while version 2 is targeted for advanced, experienced users and those who are considering to connect to the ISO standards. For the hierarchy framework of the CIC BIM standards applications, please refer to the reference section introduction in the version 2. Other CIC standards includes the CIC BIM standard for architecture and structural engineering in line with ISO 9650 version 2 2020, and also CIC BIM dictionary in line with ISO 9650 December 2020, and CIC BIM exchange information requirements EIR template, that is the BIM specifications, also in line with ISO 9650 December 2020. And the fifth one is CIC BIM standards for preparation of statutory plan submissions, December 2020. For more background information, descriptions, and guidance of use of publications above, please read the forwards in the corresponding publications. And all these BIM standards publications are available on the CIC BIM portal. In 2017, the Hong Kong SAR government decreed that BIM technology must be used in the design and construction of all major government capital works projects with a project estimate of more than Hong Kong dollars 30 million and above. They were scheduled to start during or after the year 2018, and that the use of this technology in private construction projects should also be promoted. This has generated a surge in demand for BIM personnel and training needs. So the fourth important part the CIC has been doing is certification and accreditation on BIM. The CIC has introduced the BIM certification and accreditation schemes to ascertain the competency of BIM personnel and quality of local BIM training courses. The certification of BIM managers, CCBMs, and accreditation of BIM manager courses were launched in January 2019. Certification of BIM coordinators, CCBCs, and accreditation of BIM coordinator courses were launched in March 2020. There are now over 400 CCBMs in Hong Kong. We are glad to see that in the Development Bureau Technical Circular Works number 12/2020, the latest one, it states that BIM team leader shall be a CCBM with effect from 1st July 2021 for all technical and fee proposals of consultancy agreement or construction works tenders to be invited on or after 1st January 2021. And the BIM coordinator shall either meet the required qualifications or shall be a CCBC. We have some good news for those who want to be CCBC. As we listen to feedback from the industry, the CIC BIM Certification and Accreditation Board has agreed to streamline the CCBC application by removing the mandatory requirement to submit the client's evaluation form. The grandfathering and grace period of CCBC application will end very soon, on 31st of March. So act fast before it is too late. Fifth is the R&D and funding support. For R&D, if you have some good and practical ideas, you could always apply for the CIC R&D fund. BIM is one of the 5 focused R&D areas. Apart from BIM, productivity, environment and sustainability, safety and health, and also procurement are other focus areas of the industry. In 2018, the government has set up 1 billion CITF funding to support adoption of innovation in the industry. BIM is one of the main support technologies. Companies can have subsidies on BIM training as well as buying BIM software and hardware for adoption. For details, please refer to the CITF website or scan the QR code. Now, I would like to do some promotion for the CIC. The CIC Construction Digitalization Award 2021 is a new award aiming to recognize outstanding local projects and local organizations for their contribution in the promotion and adoption of digitalization tools and workflows, and bring about innovation in these areas to improve productivity, quality, sustainability, and safety with measurable KPIs. The award is divided into 2 categories, namely project and organization. The organization category is further divided into 6 subcategories, consisting of client, consultant, contractor category A, contractor category B, training research institute, and startup company. There will be gold, silver, bronze awards and merit certificates for each project and each subcategory of organization. The award is now open for submission, and deadline is 30th of June 2021. So please scan this QR code for application and for more details. Apply now. And the Construction Innovation Technology Application Center, the CITAC CITEC, was established in the year 2017 with the aims of promoting the innovative technology adoption in Hong Kong industry. We will do the innovation scouting and then disseminate information via the CITEC platforms. And iClub is a membership platform. If you have not yet joined iClub, you can now scan the QR code, join now, and receive iClub latest news as well as sharing and discussion construction innovation there. Now, let us get back to the theme of this webinar, the BIM Adoption Survey 2020. And this is under our part on the R&D, the part 5, R&D for research. In 2020, CIC has commissioned the relevant partners and company to conduct the 2nd comprehensive BIM adoption survey in Hong Kong. The first one is 2019. And the one in 2018 is done in a very quick way by CIC's own staff. And the primary objective of this survey is to establish a fuller picture of the BIM adoption situation in the Hong Kong construction industry. Consisting of BIM Adoption Survey 2019, this survey in 2020 reached out to 7 target groups in the Hong Kong construction industry and covered the 4 major issues, which are, firstly, BIM diffusions and maturity distributions. Second, BIM uses and impacts. Third, motivations and hurdles for adopting BIM in Hong Kong, and 4th, strategies for advancing BIM adoption. So notably, the survey in 2020 conducted by questionnaire only for figures update and more in-depth data analytics. We target to have more group-based and cross-group analysis this year, and comparison analysis has been carried out between 2 years for more insights. The BIM Adoption Survey 2020 was conducted during August to October 2020, collecting data to study the adoption situation of BIM technology in the Hong Kong construction industry at 31st of March 2020. This survey reached out to the AECO organizations from 7 key stakeholder groups, including government departments, statutory bodies, real estate developers and asset owners, consultants specialized in design, engineering, and surveying, BIM consultants, main contractors, and subcontractors, altogether 7 key stakeholder groups. There were around 1,500 organizations being sampled. The response rate was about 32%, with 483 responded. According to the consultants who engaged, it is one of the largest sample and vigorous survey that have been taken from the world standard on BIM. This study performs representative sampling and uses statistically rigorous methodologies to obtain representative views of the industry. And this study adopted a new sampling method in Group 3 and 4, that is, main contractors and subcontractors. This new method allows a better understanding of the adoption of different trades. The results of this survey have achieved 90% confidence interval at a 10% margin of error for Groups 3 and 4, and covered 100% populations of the Groups 1, 2, 5, 6, and 7. For main contractors, Group 3, new sampling methods was adopted. Main contractors were divided into 4 subgroups based on a list of approved contractors for public works of the Revenue Bureau and a list of registered general building contractors kept by Buildings Department. Group A may tender for public works contracts of value up to Hong Kong dollars 100 million. Group B may tender for public works contracts of value up to Hong Kong dollars 300 million. Group C may tender for public works contracts of any values exceeding Hong Kong dollars 300 million. And Group N denotes groups on the registered general building contractors list, but not registered for the list of approved contractors for public works. For Group 4, subcontractors, the random sampling was based on, firstly, the registered subcontractors, the RS, and second, registered specialist trade contractors schemes, RSTCS. The Group 4 results have achieved a 90% confidence interval at a 10% margin of error. And normalization is one of the applications of statistics, which enables adjusting values measured on different scales. It adjusts the value of data from different groups to a common scale. In this study, the use of the minimum to maximum feature scaling is adopted. It brings all values into the range of from 0 to 1. The general formula is as shown. So overall, we can see 4% improvements in normalized BIM adoption in 2020 when compared with normalized BIM adoption of 2019. And the responded organizations by representative sampling are profiled into 3 categories by BIM diffusion and maturity. The 25% of surveyed organizations classified as BIM laggards, who do not have any active BIM projects as of 31st of March 2020. Another 52% of the organizations are adopting BIM. The top 23% of these BIM adopters are classified as the BIM leaders in terms of, firstly, BIM project penetration, secondly, organizational BIM exposure, and thirdly, perceived BIM benefits. The remaining 35% organizations are defined to be the BIM adopters. So from this survey 2020, it is encouraging to see an increase in BIM adoption as there is a 4% less BIM laggards. The survey showed that most of the BIM laggards are small and medium enterprises, and in the coming years, we should focus on helping them to advance to BIM adopters and BIM leaders. But now, I'll pass the time to George to walk through the details.
Thank you, Aidan. Now for detail, for contractors and subcontractors, we see that they are still low in BIM adoption. It is not difficult to understand why. The result clearly shows contracts of any value exceeding 300 million have much higher adoption rates as government mandates BIM uses in works projects with value exceeding 30 million since January 2018. For Group 4, registry subcontractor, the selected sub-trade are shown. Top two of these trades are structural and civil. Concreting framework incurred more with more than 30% BIM adoption rate. Another encouraging finding is that more organizations have increasing use of BIM as reflected from the top BIM use of 2020. Almost 80% of BIM adopters and leaders use BIM for 3D coordination and more than 70% for design reviews. It is also interesting to see that the top 5 BIM users have been the same throughout the years. Some other BIM users are getting increasing adoption, but just not as popular as these 5 BIM users. If we look into details on BIM use, for benefits BIM use, we see that BIM adopters increased 100% and BIM leaders increased 68%. The results suggest that BIM leaders and BIM adopters may find considerable opportunities in realizing more project benefits with BIM. Overall, the adoption rate of all the top use have increased. When we asked the BIM leaders and adopters on their BIM usage, with the 20 BIM users listed in the survey, we found that, similar to last year's result, the top BIM users for visualization and coordination are 3D coordination, design reviews, and design offering, having the highest adoption percentage at 77%, 72%, and 64%. At the same time, the increasing percentage shows many high-value BIM users are under-adopted, especially those focused on optimization and automation, and access and facility management. It is happy to see that for BIM adoptions, all through Group 31 out of 80 BIM users, about 39%, shown with more than 50% adoption rate with benefits. Practitioners are more motivated to use BIM due to project benefits than BIM can deliver. For example, information decision-making, enhanced sustainability, and reduce risk. Based on more than 480 survey respondents, this study has identified 3 key hurdles of BIM adoption for the Hong Kong industry, which are lack of BIM expertise, lack of BIM project experience, absence of BIM requirements by the client. The study also found that the significant hurdles for clients and BIM consultants are the difficulty of changing mindsets and culture, and lack of standards and guidelines. The CIC may need to do more work for them. When asking the respondents why they use or not use BIM, we found that contractor AEC consultants, BIM consultants are primarily driven to adopt BIM to comply with client requirements. Overall, the industry is commonly faced with a compliance-driven mindset. And when asking respondents whether BIM positively impacts their projects, by taking the net percentage of positive response, i.e. net positivity, as the indicator, notably, the BIM benefit they most agree on are enhanced communication and reduced error and omission, with over 75% net positivity for this BIM impact. They show strong confidence on these 2 benefits brought by BIM. This year, some questions related to digitalization were asked. For digitalization investment, it is found that BIM leaders invest an average of Hong Kong 779,000, and BIM adopters invested an average of Hong Kong dollars 675,000 in digitalization. We can see that BIM leaders, and to a certain degree, BIM adopters, are more willing to invest in latest technologies. In contrast, BIM laggards invested an average of only Hong Kong dollars 71,000, tend to be more risk averse and lack incentive to invest in innovation technologies. When looking into the amount of investment in BIM talent, we can see that BIM leader and BIM adopter, the investment ratio is 1 to 3 to 6. That is 1 BIM manager to 3 BIM coordinators to 6 BIM modelers, which is aligning with Bim Adoption Survey 2019. Building in-house BIM team has been addressed as a major direction for BIM leaders and BIM adopters. In contrast, BIM laggards and SMEs, we can see that investment mainly focused on BIM leadership. BIM is currently mostly outsourced. It is also shown that 80% SMEs are BIM laggard. Insufficient BIM expertise and project experience are being reflected as key obstacles to furthering BIM implementation. To cope with this, the CIC will provide more support for SMEs to adopt BIM, such as providing funding support through the CITF for experience use of BIM, project adoption, and promoting BIM applications through BIM Solution Day and advanced workshop at the BIM space, etc. For private sector, we can see that it is 6 times more BIM laggards in private projects than public projects in Group 3 main contractors, 4 subcontractors, and 5 AEC consultants. The top motivation for private projects to use BIM is Hong Kong client requirements. For clients' motivations, we can see that there is a notable change in the ranking of facility and assets management. It goes up 12 positions to reach number 4. Besides, it is recommended to continuously benchmark the industry performance by this kind of survey of a series of KPIs. Similar to the findings of the survey 2019, organizations' decision to adopt BIM is still primarily driven by client requirements and government policy. These 2 hurdles ranked the highest in all the different groups, stakeholders, group, SMEs, and various project types. Price is influential in organizations' decision to adopt BIM, but the result also shows signs of the emergence of benefits-driven BIM adoption in the local market. The result demonstrates a similar ranking of BIM use and BIM benefits. This research shows a great improvement in BIM adoption. By 2023, the increase in percentage of improvement will likely be in the range of 10 to 20% in the following BIM adoption KPIs. With the above findings, recommendations are summarized for advanced BIM implementation. The CIC will focus on 1, promote open BIM approach and common data environment to the industry, especially for SMEs. A culture change for SMEs leaders is needed. Another recommendation is to document and share client and SMEs best practice, which helps stakeholders identify opportunity for transition to a value-driven mindset. With clients contributing their successful BIM uses in assets and facility management, SMEs contributing their successful project cases with quantifiable BIM benefits, the CICs can help showcasing them to the industry. For example, for demonstrating at the CIC BIM space and BIM talks. And final recommendation is to understand the effectiveness of the CITF scheme. The CIC can conduct an ROI analysis of the BIM application for CIT award companies. Now, to quickly give you a key takeaways from this BIM Adoption Survey 2020, there is three main points. The first one is the 4% improvement in normalized overall BIM adoption 2020 when compared to that of 2019. The top BIM users are consistent between 2018, 2019, and 2020, focusing on coordination and visualization. Overall, the adoption rate of all the top users increased, especially for design reviews, drawing production, and 3D coordination. And lastly, three key hurdles are identified. They are, first, the lack of BIM resources, second, compliance-driven mindset, and third, difficulties in changing workflow and practices. We, the CIC, and the whole construction industry in Hong Kong will help to address these hurdles by providing adequate training in breadth and width, enhancing funding support, setting the right policy, and showcasing proven benefits of BIM adoption. The report of the BIM Adoption Survey 2020 has been published on the CIC BIM portal. You are welcome to download the published survey from the CIC BIM portal. The CIC BIM portal serves as a central hub to collect and disseminate of the latest BIM information, such as BIM conference, seminar, event, training, standard, and guidelines, and showcase, etc. Please visit our website at www.bim.cic.hk. I hope you enjoy the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Please remain on stage. This brings us to the Q&A session. May I also invite Architect Adolfo to come on stage again for the Q&A session.
Okay, thank you very much. I like the key takeaways, especially CIC. How can we, based on the survey findings, and help the industry for more robust and better adoption in future? So let's take a look at the questions we've got so far.
Okay, for the webinar, we have collected a number of questions from the audience. We have picked a few questions for immediate feedback. The first question is, why do the BIM Adoption Survey 2020 need to include the section of digitalization?
That's a very good question. Perhaps I will start off and then George can supplement. Well, actually, BIM can provide tremendous value and generate a lot of useful information throughout the project life cycle, but it's only part of the whole digitalization process or digital transformation that we could leverage. So, George, what are the kind of important parts of digitalization?
Actually, BIM is part of the digitalization, and obviously with digital technologies, there's not just BIM. So we try to embrace the whole digitalization umbrella, and then actually the CIC is formulating and developing a construction digitalization roadmap. That's why we include a little bit of questions on that to try to gauge the current adoption of digitalization in Hong Kong.
Yeah, actually, digitalization can help the industry to be more productive, work safer, with better terms in terms of environment. So there's a lot of benefits to both organization and the industry.
Yeah. In fact, our construction digitalization actually touches all of the 6 themes or smart areas of a smart city. So we will work together to bring Hong Kong to a smarter city.
So let's take the next question.
Okay, the second question. Will the survey be conducted annually, and how could I contribute to it?
That's a very good question. Now, as mentioned earlier, this is the second scientific survey that we have conducted. First is 2019, second is 2020. The first one done by CIC alone, on its own, is 2018, but that's not a scientific survey. But the findings are very useful. So next question, will it be done annually? So George, do you plan to do it next year? Or how are we going to do it next year?
Actually, we find that the findings are quite similar from 2018, 2019 to 2020. So we will not plan for a survey for next year, but we will keep reviewing to see if the adoption is on the right track, and then to see if whether a large-scale survey is needed in the future.
I think we'll continue to update our roadmap based on the findings. And also, as we have mentioned earlier, the 5 areas of how CIC will serve you as center of excellence for BIM adoption. And then see how we're progressing and performing and move ahead.
And then obviously how you could contribute to is that you can always feedback to us after you read our survey report, and then to feedback to us what area does CIC need to do more, and what other things should we focus on. And when the next surveys comes, please help to participate.
And you can always come to CIC for help. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see the next one.
Okay, the next question. Although not related to the survey, may I know if there will be any extension of the grandfathering and grace period of the CCBC applications?
Right. Okay. Deadline is approaching 31st of March, right? So, George,
this is actually a very interesting question. But although I was working for the certification and accreditation team before, but now it's under Sunny Choi's duty. But I heard that the deadline will not be extended, so it will be kept at the end of this month. So if you want to apply, then like Ada just said, please apply now, act fast. And then the good news is that you don't need to submit your client evaluation form, as the BIM certification and accreditation board, they heard your feedback. They relax a little bit of this requirement. So if you want to apply for the CCBC, please apply before 1st of April.
Right. So it's that 12 more days to go. So please act fast.
We actually expect a lot of application. We have almost every day, almost 30 to 50 application now. Towards the end, it will be double, triple.
There will be a surge towards the deadline. As we have the same experience before for the CCBS.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's good.
Okay, the next question. I noticed that the 2019 and 2020 surveys consistently show that our stakeholders are still in a compliance-driven mindset instead of a value-driven mindset when it comes to adopting BIM. Do you think it is a problem, and how to change the mindset of these people?
Well, this is a very good question. Actually, from the stakeholders, this is the obvious kind of Hong Kong compliance mindset. This is not surprising. I believe the best practice is change things, let them see the real value. That is push-pull equivalent to the carrot and stick. But I think that for Hong Kong people, carrots will always be better. So if we can motivate them by showcasing more success stories from the BIM leaders, and they can see the real value of them, and how to change mindset of these people. Now, I think, George can supplement, I think after we have published the CIC BIM Service General 2020 December version, it also gives another impetus for Hong Kong to align our work to the international standard by ISO 19650. From merely building information modeling to building information management. And this, I hope, can help the industry to move to the next level. This is just like the kind of digital version of quality assurance that we always practice under ISO 9000. So, George, any supplement that you can observe here?
So actually, just echo Ada's your answer is that the compliance-driven mindset is not a bad thing actually, because if we have this mindset, then the government just need to do something. When the government do the right thing, and then we will follow. So it is not exactly a bad thing, but obviously we need a carrot, as you said.
Yeah.
So we will try to showcase the benefits of BIM adoption to the industry, and then let them know that their peers are actually doing this thing, so they will follow.
Yeah, actually CIC can also give some carrots. As we can see it, I can see there's a big gap between the previous CIC BIM standards in the 2019 edition and 2020 edition. So when you look at it, there would be a lot of new things to be learned. And this, I would hope that CIC will give the industry a boost by enhancing training so that this can help to align the work of the industry in Hong Kong as well. So, and if you've got any problems, you can always come to CIC to seek help.
Okay, since there are a few more questions being asked by the audience in the Q&A question tabs, may George take a look to see whether we can take back instantly.
Right. One question is, some clients are too unfamiliar with practical problems of BIM application in the consultants or contractors. How to bridge this gap in understanding? It's a very good question.
Yeah. Familiar. Actually, Ada just discussed with us that we should probably develop some startup kits, things like that, so that practitioner can easily follow to get started. So this is actually one of the things that we will look into. And then Ada, you have any other idea?
Well, actually, I'm saying that for the new BIM standards that we have launched, small and medium-sized clients will definitely need to seek help from CIC as well. I think there should be some kind of teaching material for the industry, including clients or these SME or smaller enterprises, contractors, and also consultants. How they're going to establish the BIM practice for their organization, how to write the different kind of information requirements. And I'm hoping that CIC can develop some kind of information containers for the educational toolkits, so that they can come and they can learn with better consistency. And also we need to scale up the training program, and we don't have enough resources for training. So online training programs and also these kind of small video clips may be useful for these clients, or these clients and also consultants and contractors. There's a lot of work to be done, I'm sure. And we hope that the professional bodies, the trade organizations can help us to bridge this gap as well. So they know best what is required for their sector or the segment, and they can work with CIC to develop these kind of toolkits for training to help them to accelerate BIM adoption. So this is very important. George, anything to supplement on this part?
The only thing I want to supplement is that I always like you guys feedback or questions, because when you have feedback and questions, then we know what is actually needed from the industry. And then from this question, obviously, when Ada says the solution sort of, then we have actually a lot of work to do. Then I don't have to be worried that I have no job to do.
There's a lot of work to be done. And we're joking. Professors said if they have to teach BIM, then they have to upskill themselves every day, because there's new stuff coming in the BIM world every day, unlike other subjects. Okay, so keep going. And the second question is interesting. Is it better from the same audience, Joseph? It's better to adopt BIM from bottom-up approach rather than top-down. If top-down, it may mean construction fellows are only forced to use BIM instead of being interested to use BIM. So Josh, I'll go first.
This is actually one of the similar questions that we just talked about. So we actually have like a push and pull. So bottom up probably will kind of like a push from the bottom instead of a push from the top. This kind of approach, I still think in Hong Kong, as you see from the survey, that most of us are still compliance driven. So without the requirements, then it is very hard to bottom up. A few of the leaders actually are the bottom up leader, but their force is not that strong to actually tipping that to the tipping point.
Well,
so the government policy is too important. So I don't see a very bad effect of actually going for the push approach. But ADAS can supplement.
Actually, that's an interesting question, and the answer, I would say that top-down approach, as we can see from the adoption survey, most of clients would be pushing for BIM. If clients pushing for it, then the consultants and contractors would, of course, compliance-driven mindset will comply.
Yeah.
So this is one very good factor to drive the use of BIM. But for another interesting question is whether bottom-up approach or industry consensus would be useful is another area that we should explore.
Yes, true.
Remember, before we have many of the clients adopting mandating use of BIM, CIC has been forging ahead to help the industry to facilitate the use of BIM already. So we also need some kind of industry forces that can help to move the people along.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying that right now I can see if the trade associations, professional bodies, universities, academia can also work together and help drive BIM adoption, that can greatly help the top-down or bottom-up.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who don't really know what to do and what would be best for them to do. So it is something that we should work together.
Yeah, I think actually the CIC is acting as a bottom-up agent. We try to align with the industry and then actually bottom up to the policy maker. For example, the buildings department. Right, we are forming a task force on BIM submission to BD.
Yes.
And then we will align all the public clients to submit BIM for them.
Actually, CIC is a very good platform to align everybody, the top and the bottom, the middle, and all stakeholders in the industry to work together. So it's a kind of a party for all, so that we can work together and move ahead with a robust approach in BIM adoption.
Right. So I see a question there, which asks about when is the special condition of contract and specification, when will they be expect to deliver? So
specification.
I think it's around. We will have a public consultation. I think around
second quarter.
Second quarter,
I
right?
would say that this CIC special contract for BIM, and we would be targeting to have a consultation or engagement exercise in the second quarter this year. So please be patient for a while, and then we will be doing it very soon.
Yeah. Okay, I see. I think we have time for one more questions. I read Waiki, our friend from Autodesk. He asked, will CIC has a target number of participants that should acquire BIM skills in short, like 3 years, and midterm 5 years, or long term 10 years? This is a good question, and actually we did a kind of holistic review of BIM training together with the Development Bureau. And we have estimated to the year 2025, we need approximately 900 BIM manager of that skill category. And then approximately 2,000 to 3,000 BIM coordinators. And for BIM modelers, it will be around 7,000. And to the year 2025, we have a category which we categorize as a BIM viewer. That is, they only need to view the BIM model or BIM documents, and they have the skills to comment on that and navigate in the model, etc. And that is the most basic skills for BIM viewer. That will account for around 17,000 of personnel, of number of personnel that we need estimate to 2025. So this is the kind of the picture that we have to focus on to make a check and balance like supply and demand. So we have to provide sufficient training and sufficient training to the right skills level.
Yeah.
Right.
And also up-to-date training for everyone. So we have to update training material almost every year.
Yes, yes. I think this is approximately the time. So
thank you, Ada and Josh. I hope all of you have enjoyed the webinar today. And thank you very much for attending. And we wish you a very pleasant afternoon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.